Welcome to the EBS-C Chief's Corner video series. As part of our People First guiding principle, this series will highlight perspectives on this revolutionary change from soldiers and civilians across the Army at all levels. Our hosts are Chief Warrant Officers from the communities affected by EBS-C as the integrators and managers of our Army's current and future sustainment systems. Throughout this series of videos, we'll offer information, insight, and news on innovation for how the EBS-C effort is helping to build the Army of 2030 and making a difference to the warfighter and workforce around the world.
We have a special guest, Mr. Frank Wilde, the Deputy Director for the Enterprise Business Systems Convergence, MFCT. We spent the past 2 days at Fort Greg Adams visiting with Combined Arms Support Command, CASCOM, with the Ordnance School, the Quartermaster School, and with other agencies within those activities. We've seen how training is conducted at the schoolhouses. We reviewed how doctrine and the policy related to that doctrine will affect EBS-C and how EBS-C fits into that vision of the sustainment future for the Army of 2030 and 2040. So, Mr. Wilde, after our 2 days here at Fort Greg Adams, what are some of the opportunities you see EBS-C can address?
Chief, I see on a number of fronts us being able to take advantage of much more of a metrics-based approach to how we help the warfighter with business outcomes. So whether that's focused around sustainment, whether it's focused around being able to tie into key logistics processes, we had a chance to meet with and engage with everything from users all the way up to key stakeholders across the mix at Fort Greg Adams. So when we think about leveraging that metrics-based approach to be able to identify process improvements, to be able to look at how do we make it and free up time for the warfighter to be that much more effective and not focused just on handling transactions within an application, but using a much more streamlined user interface, a much better user experience that's going to drive and make it that much easier for the warfighter in the field to be able to do their job. That's one of the things I'm most excited by, and I've seen how much time and effort is spent just learning a system. And that's what we absolutely want to use as a gauge or a barometer for success for us moving forward. We want that system to be intuitive. We want it to be easy to use. Just like any app on your phone, we want to take those same design principles forward.
Great news for the warfighter and for the soldiers that are using it, how do you see that improving the data that we use to generate those metrics at the enterprise level?
Because we have one data backbone, so we'll be able to handle whether it's a digital twin, whether it's being able to look at predictive logistics. There's a number of new capabilities that we're going to be able to support with one common view of inventory levels, of part ordering, of requisitions across the entire supply chain. So again, that's another exciting area for us to be able to be that much more predictive in nature rather than reactive or bogged down with manual type processes. So as we think about moving forward, moving the Army from looking back to instead looking forward, that's one of the areas that we're very much focused on.
How do you see that improving the data that we generate from the humans at the end of the EBS-C system to our enterprise system for analytics?
Chief, there are two key elements, one of which is the fact that everything that we're doing is through the eyes of the user. So when we think about those business processes, whether I'm a maintainer, whether I'm in supply or a quartermaster focused, one of the areas that we're going to look at specifically, and we've been doing this over the course of the last 5-6 months already, is looking at what are the needs of that persona or the individual that's in that seat. What's the user experience? What are the tools they need? How do we help them with that design? And then the other key component I would say is the fact that we're looking at how do we help deploy this functionality over time. And we're taking what's called an agile based approach, meaning that we've broken the application into small, manageable chunks and pieces of functionality that we can continue to build on and layer on moving forward. So as we deploy, as we kick off our pilot, we're going to be testing that with the field and getting immediate feedback from the user communities that we're working with. So that's going to be another key design, design element that helps us shape the design, the usability, the interaction, the business process, all from constant interactions with the field as we deploy. So one of the pieces that we would ask from kind of the warrant officer community is what areas of functionality, what user groups could we tie into as we think about this initial launch that's going to help with that feedback right out of the gate to help shape and influence how we handle the design of the overall EBS system.
Mr. Wilde, thank you again for your time and for giving us that vision of the future for enterprise business systems convergence. And we appreciate you joining us for a Chief's Corner. We look forward to getting your feedback on enterprise business systems convergence.